Ready for the stream. Are you ready for the stream? I am ready for the stream. I am here. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Perfect. Well, let's just get started. Welcome, everybody. Let's make our little announcement, and let's get going. You guessed it. Compiler Part 31. For you knew by the title. Alrighty. Let's get going. Let's get going. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Okay. We're gonna get started right away. We're not taking no for an answer. We're just going. I don't know what that means, but we're just going. We're starting. It's happening. I added some more to do, which is probably a bad idea, because it's more stuff I probably won't get done. Look at me just nearly knock over my entire shelf. Never stretch at your desk. It's bad luck as a programmer. How's it going, everybody? First time chat from a viewer, Ruark. Hello, hello. What's up, Ruark? Am I saying your name right? How's it going? Thank you so much for tuning in. We have to think about what we are going to do. Let's think about this. Ruark says yes. Hey, I'm glad. It's a difficult one. Many people get it right the first time, but still wonder if they pronounce it correctly. Nice. It's a good sign. It's just not letters you see together. Like the UA can make so many sounds. Like in guanidine. It could be wa. You know what I mean? It could be rark. Or it could be... It's so hard. It's a really difficult thing to parse for my brain. It's like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Okay. Within the parser... Jesus, this code is so messy. What would we like? So we would like... Ruark says, yeah, I think the Q makes it even more confusing, since that is the letter you generally don't see that often. Yeah, especially after an R, a UAR. Arc. Uark? Suraid says, yep. What's up, Suraid? How's it going? Thank you for tuning in. What's going on? What's good? Is there a poll request? Should I do something? I didn't look. I should probably look, shouldn't I? Let me go look. Alrighty. I literally just opened another PR like 15 minutes ago. Oh lord. Implement generic code generation for comparisons using setcc. What? We don't support parentheses in expressions yet. That's true. A as add 1 equals 1. So you're doing like binary operator expressions to add to A repeatedly. So A should be 3. Yeah. This is a confusing example, but I'm okay with it. What's it for? Ruark says, is this compiling to bytecode right now or to machine code or assembly? It's compiling directly to assembly. GNU as assembly. Tobinho, hey guys, what are you working on? We're working on our fun compiler, which is our terrible name. It's a temporary name, we're gonna fix it. But we're working on our compiler that compiles our little language here in examples. So here's like a pointers example. Here, let me load the thing. You'll see. There we go. Here's the pointers example. So you can make like integers. This is a function variable declaration assigned to a lambda, which has a bunch of pointer manipulation within it. And, yeah. Rourke says, Gasm gives me, okay, I will not make that joke, Lamau. No, I like org mode. Org mode is the best, you know what I mean? Org mode with Gasm, ooh, it's just beautiful. Sir Aid says, that's just some test cases to make sure I don't screw up somewhere. Okay. I'm just making sure. So, using setcc. Where are we at? So, we're looking at a pull request from Sir Aid. Ruark says, holy moly. How about that? Lander XD says, there are bad days, and there are days where Len streams. The two are mutually exclusive. Thank you so much, Lander. That's a blessing, that's a blessing. Eniloligagi. This is interesting. So these are suffixes for set. So set CC can be set E, set not equal, set less than or equal, set greater than or equal. So this comparison type maps exactly to this comparison count. Is that the idea? If so, we probably want to comment saying, if you change comparison type, you must change blah 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 as well. I like the static const. Shouts outs to use. Sir Aid says, this time I actually remembered how enums work, lol. It's true. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. Also, the code styling is beautiful. I thank you for actually caring. Like, these parameters are, it's very nearly there. These two should be on new lines by themselves, but I know a lot of people hate that, so I understand why they're not. I didn't add a comment because they're right next to each other, but yeah, probably a good idea. It's a good idea for people like me. I have bad vision. I can only see, like, I don't know, 3 inches on my screen. Like a 3-inch circle. Ruark says, don't you have something like Clang format? Nah, Clang format doesn't do my indenting. I do it. I can't. If someone can figure out how to get Clang format working in the way that I prefer, that'd be sweet, but I can't figure it out. Sir Aid says, I tried, but my formatter was working against me every step of the way, lol. Exactly. I don't have any formatter, or formatting at all. I just do it all myself, with Emacs, because Emacs beautiful. But in our language, we have automatic indenting as well. Whee! Lander XD says, you should show us your Steam library. Nah. I'm sure you could look it up. I mean, Lander XT has, he's my friend on Steam. He sent me a friend request, so you have access to all the games I got, buddy. I know, I was like, Lander, wait. you have this. So Cogen comparison, I like this. So any comparison, we just feed it a comparison type. I don't think there's any other comparisons we can do, or that we're going to do. Lander XT says, why did you accept? Why wouldn't I? What do I have to lose? We can play games together if you want. I don't care. Rourke says, I can format by myself too, but the Clang format is just in case anyone ever contributes to my projects, which will probably happen like never. See, that's, yeah. Even if people do contribute, it's like, I don't mind syntax problems. When I look at the code next, I'll go, huh, that's different, and then I'll change it, and then it'll just be in a further commit. I don't worry about having like the whole code base matching exactly all the time. It's like, if multiple people are working on it, it doesn't have to look exactly the same. But I agree, if the code base gets large, like 10 people are concurrently working on it constantly, then it would be a thing. It would be like, this is too much work. Sir 8 says, I always use Clang format because it mostly does what I want. It's not perfect, but I can deal with that, lol. Yeah, I can't deal with that. Vme says, huzzah! Oh, Vme, what's up with the amazing emotes? Here, hold on. These amazing emotes, look at these. Beautiful. What an entrance, Vme. Vme says, it has to smell the same. Exactly, exactly. Vme gets it. If the code doesn't smell right, it's just not right. It's just not, you know what I mean? It doesn't tickle my feather in the right way. Ruark says, I'm very pedantic when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm pedantic about anything. LandoXT says, do you call procrastinating and promising you'll work on it working on it? Yes, I do. Because the promises I also make to myself. So if I break them, it's like my own heart is broken as well. So for all our binary operator comparison things, we did a cogen comparison. So it seems like boop bada boop. So now all of these, okay, are the same except for this. It's possible we could extract this into its own, what am I trying to say? Basically, it's possible we could extract like this value into a variable and set the variable in the statement and then have one call to the function. But it really doesn't matter. That's just semantics. It would just be less code duplication, but that doesn't matter. It would work the same. Vimy says, @LanderXT, that's basically how my daily Kanban review looks like. Lamau. Here's what we're doing next. It's what we had to do next last week as well. LanderXT says, the reality is I'm most productive while watching, listening to your stream anyway, so I'd never work on the compiler. Lamau. Ruark says, Clang format sometimes fucks up the formatting actually, especially when it comes to lists of structs or something. Clang format does weird things. It looks horrible. Lamau. I can't deal with that. Compare equal, compare less than, compare greater than. We need a greater than or equal. We don't have those binary operators, do we? We definitely don't. We don't have the OR operator or the AND operator, so it would get real tough to do some things. You'd have to do like nested ifs. That'd be horrible. Closing a ticket with won't do tag is the best feeling in the world. Lamau Vimy. That would feel so good. You'd feel so superior. All right, I like it. I like it. So we have comparison suffixes, a comparison type. These have to match. Sorry, it says, yeah, as I mentioned in the PR, this function also works for greater than or equal, less than or equal, so that's basically just a matter of adding those operators in the front end. Awesome. I want a can't be bothered tag, says LanderXT. Lamau. That would be hilarious. But yeah, I see no reason why we wouldn't just merge this. If we take a look at the code, there's an assert. Type is less than compare count and invalid comparison type. Type that we're given is less than compare count, so it must be one of these. And invalid comparison type to let us know. Reuse a register for the result of the comparison. Expression, result register, expression, children, result register. Reuse a register for the result of the comparison. Nice. So for a comparison, we're saying just use the left-hand side. Result register, whatever that is, we can do that. To avoid having to encode 8-bit registers, we always use R8B for this, for the time being. If the result register happens to be R8, we can just use it without having to store, save, restore anything. Implement 8-bit registers and use the 8-bit variant of the result register instead. Don't forget to zero out that register instead of R8. What? Okay, this is a little confusing. I feel like, is this comparison used anywhere else? It is. Move the value into the result register. Okay, so we have to both save and restore. R8B is like AL, but for R8. I didn't know that was possible. Nice. LanderXT says, new Discord member. What? Awesome, Ruark. Thank you so much for joining the Discord. I appreciate it. Be sure to check out that in the Twitch About section if you haven't and you're enjoying the content. We have a ton of fun. Wait. What happens when it gets to 0? Oh no. It will get to 1 next. True. I think it's because my system time is an hour behind the real time in my country. That'd be crazy. That is about an hour. But it's not exactly an hour. That's confusing. Hehehe. Alrighty. So basically we need to save R8 here unless the result registers R8, in which case we just overwrite it. Correct. So we're always using R8 as our result. Is there... This is just so we can write to the lower bytes of it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I see it. Implement 8-bit registers. So if we implemented 8-bit registers, then every time we allocate a register, I guess we could just allocate 8-bit registers, but then that would have to also allocate the 64-bit register that it used. There's a lot of... I don't think... we should just register allocate here. I don't know if we need to, but then we'd have to know the suffix for every one. See, it's always difficult. It's basically because setcc has to be used with an 8-bit register. I see, so we're just choosing this 8-bit register and saving and restoring it if needed. That's Pog, that's Pog. I get you, Sir, I get you. As a DevOps, I must say that everything should be freaking UTC. You are correct. You are correct. Move the value into the result register and restore R8 is in use. So move 0 byte to quad word. Okay, so we move something, we 0 it out, and it's a byte to a quad word. So we're moving a byte into a 64-bit register, and then we're doing an 8-byte pop into R8. Technically, we don't need the Q here. That's bike shedding, but it's true. I know sometimes we use push Q and pop Q as well. It's hard to get out of the brain. 0 extended byte to quad word. Exactly, yeah. They 0 out the 64-bit register, and then it's a byte to quad move. So if it's signed, everything will fix. Will be converted as well. It would basically involve adding the names for the 8-bit variants of all the registers. Exactly. Which I guess we could do in the x86-64 cogen context if we had some sort of way to encode it in the register pool, which I'm sure we do. Okay, and then we just use the comparison. So what does the output code look like? It would basically 0 out R8, saving it if needed. And technically we only need to save it if it's not the result and it's in use, because it's a scratch register in MSWin. So technically there's another check we could do here for even more optimization, but that does not matter. It's just something that occurred to me while reading. So we 0 out R8. We compare the right-hand side with the left-hand side. I don't think it matters which way it's which. I guess it does in the case of subtraction, but hopefully that's already like greater, or not subtraction, but like greater than or lesser than. Ruark says, can you recommend Codeberg over GitHub? Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. If it's the result, it's also always in use. That's a good point. But it could be in use and not the result of this specific child. I know what you're saying. I've thought about all the possible combinations of R8 is in use and R8 is the result register, and this is what I came up with, W. Lamau. So basically, this checks if the result register of our current expression is R8. But has the current expression had register allocated? Like, does that happen here? Register allocate? See, I don't see a register allocate for the, there's only result registers for the children. We reuse the left-hand side. Thank you. So yeah, we set the result to the left-hand side. But like, if the right-hand side is in R8, it's in use, but we don't need to save it. But if we have a nest, if we're within an if, there's going to be a lot of scratch registers already in use. And I think R8 is going to be used for the condition itself, like the result of the condition. Anyway, when we have to, which would probably be set here. Okay, I think you might be right. I see what you're getting into. I get, if the right-hand side is in use, then saving it is pointless. That's true. Yeah, I think I get at what you're getting at here. Because basically the scenarios where we would save R8 when we don't need to are very rare. I see what you're talking about, the way we allocate. Lander says, why is doing anything code-related so much more annoying on Windows? Because Windows is made by Microsoft. Vme says, depends on your use case, but both Codeberg and GitHub have weak CI/CD. I mean, yeah. GitLab is the way to go if you want CI/CD. Saraid says, but handling that case as well as an optimization, that would be a bit more complicated to implement. Exactly. Vme says, cause Linux! Lamau. LenderXT says, the best solution the dev community came up with was just to run Linux on Windows. It's true. Ruark says, I don't use that stuff at all. Well, there you go. Saraid, especially since we need to zero out R8 before actually performing the comparison, since XOR clobbers the flags. Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah. Oof. I see what you're saying. This is a all-around rough time. 64-bit code is so messy. Ruark says, why are you not streaming from Linux? OBS runs the same there, doesn't it? That's true. The only thing I do on my computer is stream for you guys. That's it. That's the only program that needs to run cross-platform. Lamau Ruark. Saraid says, and also, it's not worth implementing since we're going to switch to using the 8-bit variant of either the left-hand side or right-hand side somewhere down the line. Hopefully, if we figure out how to do that. If you only want to just have git repo remote, there is no difference, says Ruark. Exactly. I would say there is absolutely no difference. You can take pull requests, make issues on either one. You can do... Oh god, my internet may be tanking. If it goes out, I'm sorry. I'll be back. Either way, we'll see. LanderXT says, at Ruark, join the Get Lens to use Linux community. Lamau. But yeah, I'm okay with this example. I don't know how I feel about it being the comparison example, because it's not exactly clear. This is a test. It's very clearly a test. Sir Aid. And I know we don't have tests, but it is very clearly a test. So maybe a comparison example should be a little more simpler. Because hopefully examples is where people go to learn about the language and go, how do I actually use it? What are the features it has? Oh, it has pointers. Oh, it has comparisons. Oh, it has, here's an example of greatest common denominator. Or eventually we'll have like threesome there and stuff like that. Lamau. Vme getting blocked by automod. Sir Aid says, yeah, it's supposed to be a test. Yeah. It's in the examples. We don't have a directive for a test yet, and I needed a way to test it, so Lamau. It's true. Normally I would just keep something like this local. If it's not an example, there's no need to push it. It's fine. It's not a problem. We're still going to merge everything. I hate that why can we not just go to conversation all the time? Like, what happens? It's so annoying. Ruark says unit testing is overrated. You are correct. End-to-end testing is not overrated. It's something we really need. Saraid says GitHub is still bugged, I see, lol. Yep, gotta love it. Yeah. I think we can just rebase and merge. These are named well. LanderXT says, when is FunCompiler 1.0 releasing? Never. It won't be called FunCompiler when we make the first release. Because that's a temporary name. So, tricked you! I tricked you! Ah! Lol. LenderXT says Blaze. Ooh. Vme says, at Gnarly Quack, at Ruark, you're in my sniper scope, dudes. Gnarly Quack says, tests are for noobs, just write code that works. Easy. Kappa, Lamau. Gnarly Quack says, by the way, hi Lens, hi chat. What's up, Gnarly Quack? How's it going? So good to have you in. Gnarly Quack says, I'm diving under my desk at Vimy. Erusius says, it'll be called Serious Compiler. Lamau. That'd be funny. What if the tests are wrong? You'd have to test the tests. It sort of works, compiler. Lamau, Lander. It's true. It does sort of work. So I think we're just going to rebase and merge this. Because set CC is much better for our comparisons being so horrible. Perfect. So I'm going to have to pull that into my gobbledygook. We could add assert. This time it also works with MSVC. I've tested it. Which means we can abuse string of VA ops. The macro used to be like this, blah, blah, blah. I'm just curious what the macro looks like. I'm still going to look at it. So you had to put an empty quote after the condition and then the var args, and assert implementation changed to be the same because this is a var arg, so then this will be handled by VA start. Okay, I see you. Pull requests. Gnarly Quack says, I'm good. I've got to bounce soon, though, for a Zoom meeting. Just getting my processor warmed up, though. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you did. Vimy says, 50 BMG cares very little about your desk. Or walls, for that matter, Lamau. There's so many... Nice. Just make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so now we need to do a little bit of a git fetch and then git pull. RPWH, yeehaw! How's it going, RPWH? That is our most recent donator, our most recent contributor. So shouts out to RPWH. Everybody say hi. Give him a pog champ, if you will. All right. Gnarly Quack says, I'm just gonna colon QA bang you, Vimy. Ooh. Is that a Vim joke? Or are you gonna bang him? No, I'm joking. Vimy says, ahoy! Hey, thank you, Vimy. Surraid says, this also replaces all instances of assert in the codebase with assert, except for the assert and the other PR that you just merged. Nice. Ruark says, I am the incarnation of Neo. What you gonna do now, huh? I'm gonna be the reincarnation of Neo. I've come back in time to take out the reincarnation of Neo so I never have to exist. How about that? So we do F-A, capital F-U? Capital F-U, yes. No, but that just pulls our commits into our code base. And all our changes happened without any merge conflicts. Hey. Ruark says Kappa. Lamau. Vimy says, you will be a spoon. Lamau. Blender XT says, how much time is going to go to waste when you call it something like script? All of yours. Sir Aid says, also, towards the end of last stream, you were asking for a reason why we need this, and it seems we both forgot the original reason why we even decided to add an assert macro. Assert doesn't work in release mode. Nice. You are correct. We both forgot that. Gnarly Quack says, at Lenser, that's the secret incantation to quit Vim. Once you learn that, the rest is sauce. Lamau. I like how you said that. The rest is sauce. That's just so perfect. Okay. What are we doing? We're gonna break everything. How about that? I like breaking things. So, here's the thing. I kind of want to add arrays. This was not the plan today. I kind of want to add arrays. Is that so bad? Also, there's one more assert left in CodeGen because of the first PR you just merged. Sir Aid says, arrays? Oh dear. It actually shouldn't be too complicated. I don't think. Maybe I'm dumb, but I don't think it'll be too complicated, bud. Vimy says, all my repos are localhost. Gnarly Quack says, okay, meeting time, sob. Have a good one, all. Have a good one, Gnarly Quack. Good luck. Good luck at your meeting. Try not to play any porn or, like, show your genitals, and I think you'll do well. Maybe just keep your camera off and muted, so, you know, just in case. Anyway, good luck, Gnarly Quack. See ya. Ruark says, God damn it. Vimy has the ultimate defenses. I can't do anything. I accept my death. Lamau. Gnarly Quack says, my camera is off, but I did get dressed just for this, lol. Lamau. I know that feeling. You feel like dirty. You're like in your boxers and talking to your boss. Like, this doesn't feel right. I'm sorry. You have like puppy dog look on your eyes. Like, I'm so sorry. Vimy says, at Gnarly Quack, just don't stand up. Exactly. Lamau. Okay, so basically, when we parse a type, let's just go examples and say arrays. This may just be a local one. Let's say int array is an integer array, and let's say there's like 2 integers or whatever. That's not crazy, is it? LanderXT says, doing nothing never fails. Ooh, the knowledge. Right? So we have this. And the idea is that this creates this many of those. Complicated, I know. And then we want to do something like this. Like some number, right? And then like some number. I think that's not insane. Oh god. LanderXT says the best code is no code. True. Sir Aid says that's not an example, that's a test. This is absolutely an example. It has 69 and 420. How can you say it's not an example? Vimy said complicated. Sorry, I couldn't resist, Lamau. Fails if you have to fix something. Okay, so this is an array. I mean a test. No, this is this is an array, and effectively when we're parsing the type, we need to say, okay, parse an open bracket and do a thing. Ooh. So we're basically just going to expect something else. How about that? But that means that we also need to return error here, which means we can do this. So, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Okie doke, okie doke. So now we'd like to expect with our little thing, our parser state, and we would like to expect LanderXT just said Emacs. Emacs. That's the best chat I may have ever gotten. Emacs. I like it. I agree. Emacs as well to you, sir. Parse size integer. Alrighty. Sir Aid, Emacs. Need I say more? Nope, you had me at Emacs. What? Expected not found. So if it's not found, then error prep syntax. This is basically just gonna say, hey, this doesn't work. Array type Okay, array type annotation must have closing square, must have closing blah after size integer. Sure. Whatever. So now to parse the size integer, don't we have parse integer? So parse integer takes in state current. That, I think. Parse integer into node. Does it return an error? Return Boolean-like value. Okay, so if we do parse an integer. Okay, so we're gonna have node pointer size int array size. Which is going to be a node allocate. Parse into array size. And if it equals 0, LenderXT says Guile, glibc, make. LenderXT says Emacs, GCC, bash, core utils. Lamau. Sir Aid says, I'm usually lazy and just do error, missing bracket, but that also works. Yee, we're not being lazy with our errors. Vimy says, glibc is trash. It's not trash. It's just a weird paradigm. LanderXT says, I'm not saying the best GNU programs. I'm speaking in GNUese. I like GNUese. GNUese. Error. Crap. Also, look what I forgot to do. Array type annotation expects integer array size with after opening bloop. Perfect. LenderXT says, I'm opening a PR to remove all of the error reporting stuff called Be Lazy with Errors. Lamau. Vimy says, if you use glibc, you should really switch the project to C++. That's true. But for compilers and like bootstrapping, it's actually very helpful. Sadly enough. Okay, so we'd like to eat all this stuff. Should parse integer be updated? I feel like it should take in a parsing state, but I'm not sure. See, it just checks the current token. So we may have to lex advance. Do we have to lex advance here? Well, that's right. Let's write our little build command. We're going to build debug and run debug func and pass in some example. And we're going to have to go to code.s or somewhere in this file for our working directory to be proper. Invalid syntax, array type annotation expects array size, an integer, after opening bleh. Okay. That would mean that we probably have to lex advance. Okay, so that's going to be state. And then we're going to have to do like air equals if an error. Vimy says, should have written fun compiler in C++. Nah. LanderXD says, where's C minus minus? C star star, C slash slash, C and, C dollar dollar. C dollar dollar would be funny. Arusia says, good error reporting is often underappreciated in compiler writing, even though it's an essential interface for a user. Exactly. That's actually one of our main to-dos, is errors that don't suck. But I realized I don't even know what this means. Like, I don't even know what errors that don't suck look like. I haven't seen them. Rust is okay, but it's still like, I feel like Rust is too much, and I feel like C and C++ is too little. So we need something in between there. Vimy says, I will find you, and Sig kill you. Lamau. Sir Aid says, my general rule for this is that a lexer parser function should always advance past whatever character's tokens it consumes. Yeah, that's not, we're in the middle of a function right now, though. So it's like we've expected other things already. So, if this didn't happen, then that means it advances. So expect always advances, if it gets the thing. But yeah, we're in the middle of parse type. But I agree parse type should probably advance past the type. Which it will with this expect and stuff. But right here, see this expect, I don't think it properly gets to the integer. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure there's a valid reason. Also, if state length is 0 or whatever. I don't know. We'll just say if error type. Well, hopefully that captures it. Invalid syntax, unknown symbol, opening. Hey, we did it. So hopefully we now have an int array. It's just an integer, which is perfect, because now, as we do in the function, we need to do this little copy and free little ditty. So we make a return type, we copy type into that, we free the type symbol, the base type that we got, and then we create our function type. We set our type to that, and then we add a child to the function type of our actual return type symbol of integer. So for an array, we're going to have a base type. So we're going to copy base type. So we're going to have a node. We're going to call it base type. It's going to be an allocated node. We're going to copy from type into base type. We're going to free type value symbol. Arusia says, yeah, there's an IR used in functional compilers called C++. LenderXT says, well then, expect this to be in my next language. King Buns with the best error message. I don't know, fix it. Yeah. I don't know, fix it. And then put like an angry face. With a smile. That's perfect. I don't know, fix it. That's so dick. Okay. Copy the base type. Create array type. So we're going to have a node pointer array type, which is going to be a node symbol array. So we have our symbol array. We're going to set our type to that. We're going to free our actual memory, our shell that we have used. So we're going to free array type, but we're going to use the contents of array type, this array, which should have been strduped. So array is now a heap allocated string, and that can be stored in type, like this. And then we can say node add child to type. And we want to add, first of all, the integer size. Do we want the base type first or the integer size first? I guess it doesn't really matter. I think I want the integer size first. So we're going to go down here and then say, okay, we got an integer. So pop that into place. and then add our base type that we copied earlier. King Bun says, now I kind of want to make one that just returns lol 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 on compile error. Vimy says, you were talking about bad errors? Welcome to Java, mofos! Lamau. LanderXT says, I'm actually writing in Java right now. Everyone, take a moment of silence for LanderXT, and let's pray for him. Alright, that should be good. We're sorry, Lander. We're sorry you gotta be working. You gotta be writing in Java. No, I'm just kidding. King Bun says, I'm sorry for your loss. Arusia says, Java's not so bad. Oh. Oi, 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 oi. I don't know if that's right. If you like writing legacy code in 2022. Vimy says, Java's errors are hideous. Yeah, they're like one of the worst. Also, sorry, I bumped my desk there. It's probably loud as shit. But hey, look, folks. We have an array. It's size of 2, and it's integers. Eat my ass. No, I'm just kidding. Or do if you want. I mean, no, but we did it, chat. We have array types. So now we just need like the index node. So let's do it. I guess it should be like address of, but it's gonna be a little different. So we're gonna have like node type index. Yeah. We could have it array access. Well, it's not... This is fine. Vimy says, info, ask consumption initiated. Now that's an error message. LenderXT says, to be honest, if you're writing on the JVM, at least use Kotlin or something. True. Arusia says, I don't mind them. Oh god. Vimy says, holy truth, responding to Lander. King Bun says, closure. Oh. Craigasm. Sir Aid says, dimension, maybe? The best part is, the codebase I'm working on was meant to move to Kotlin 3 years ago. Oof. I'm sorry, Lander. Sir Aid says, dimension. Maybe. It's a little confusing. We could do, like, offset by index. I don't know if that's great, though. You know what I mean? Offset, index. Let's just do index. Basically, access the integer value. Okay. Contains one child. And this is going to be variable access of array type. Okay. Sir Aid says, I mean, in a declaration, it's the dimension. Otherwise, it's an offset. So, yeah, we're not talking about in declaration anymore. We've parsed the type, so now we're parsing the expression of this. So this is actually an expression in some way or another, right? This needs to return this value. Or at least, I guess, maybe we have this return the address of. Ooh. That'd be interesting, where you still have to dereference. So int array is obviously going to be a pointer. Beginning of array. So that's a memory address. That's a pointer. So this is a pointer type, which is confusing. So, yes. But int array at 0, this could also be a pointer. This could just be 0 offset of integers from int array. Interesting. The subscript operator returns an L value, but not a pointer in C. Correct. That's why I said this could also be a pointer. It doesn't have to be a dereference. Array operator doesn't have to dereference. We could still just dereference and have that be valid and rewrite values like that. But if you just want to get the memory address offset, then you just use that. This could be a pointer. I really like that. I want that to be a pointer. I like this. Arusia says like int array plus 0. That would essentially just be pointer arithmetic then. Yes, but type checked to be within the size of the array. Because our type value contains, I hope. Oh, we changed node type max, so everything's gonna break. 1 second. So as you can see, we have the actual size of the array. Fun fact, both array2 and 2 offset by array are valid C. That's true. Ruark says, no, don't. Lamau. LanderXT says, today I don't know what to code, what language to use, what the purpose would be, or whether I should just go back to bed. Some days are like that. It's okay, Lander. I feel like that all the time. And, to be honest, most of the time I don't do anything on those days. I don't get anything done. But I just focus on getting to the next day, because maybe I'll want to do something. King Bun says Algol 60, duh. Vimi says jump on Code Wars? That's a good suggestion. LanderXT says what should I make in it? Minesweeper. I don't know. Like terminal Minesweeper. Or you could make a calculator. Or you could make a social security number generator or a lotto number generator, right? I don't know. Have fun with it. You could implement a shift register, make a random number generator, anything you want. Ruark says, well, actually, I'm watching a Twitch stream right now. Oh, because Ruark says, I always want to keep working on my compiler, but I just end up staring at the code doing nothing. Look at what I'm doing. Vimi says at Ruark, contemplating code. Now that, I feel like I want contemplating code in like the live, laugh, love font, you know, on the walls that this that they have. Like, I want contemplating code on the wall like that. LenderXT says, what should I make in it? Yes. Lol. Sir Aid says an Algol 60 compiler, obviously. Lol. So we're basically doing pointer arithmetic, but with size, with memory safety, effectively. So what we would like to do, my compiler only understands Comic Sans. Oh my god, that would be crazy. A compiler that works on a pictures of the code. Not the actual code files themselves, but a picture or a screenshot of the code. Oh. What do you do if the offset is out of bounds? Create a type error and don't compile the program. So now, variable access. If we get a variable access and we look ahead for a function call, guess what? We're also going to look ahead for other stuff, like a variable reassignment. That's probably important, but first, we should look ahead for an array operator and think about how this is going to work. Maybe we want to look for it first, because our variable access is going to turn into an index on a variable access. Sir Aid says, what if the offset is computed dynamically at runtime? So you can't have variable offsets. I guess we could. You want to do variable offsets? What if you need a vector, Kappa? Lamau be me. Okay, so you can't have variable offsets. I guess, not right now. If we had variable offsets, we'd have to ensure that they're within bounds. If we wanted memory safety. Or we could just warn and say, hey, this might go out of bounds. It's a variable. It's up to the programmer to make this right. This could also be a pointer. I like this. But yeah, for now, we're just going for the simplest case, right? We're not going for, like, end goal. We're just looking at implementing arrays in a way that may actually work. Sir Aid says, I mean, you can always generate code that checks whether it's out of bounds. We're not doing runtime errors. No. No, Sir Aid. No runtime errors. Oh, okay, here's the thing. Not runtime errors, but runtime fixes. I'm okay with that. So if we use a variable... Okay, Sir Aid, this is good. So effectively, I'm just going to write this down right here. If we have an array access of a variable or whatever, we could generate code that modulos the remainder by the size, or does a bit mask or something, right? Okay, does that make any sense? Also, look at this new thing I wrote. I'm gonna go load it so that I can actually do it. I haven't installed my new thing yet. But I wrote this wrap it column Lisp, and it's actually pretty pog. Like, it's very useful. Are you ready for this? I'm just gonna write lens wrap comment. Boom. Ends at 72. Look at how beautiful that is. I love Emacs. Sir Aid says, I don't think that's a good idea, candidly. That's bound to lead to some horrible bugs. It's better than just crashing the program, I think. And we're going to warn every time there's a variable used in the array operator. It's not going to be like a thing. Sir Aid says, yeah, but maybe not now. I don't see any way that could cause problems, Kappa. I mean, why not? It's just, bugs are the best part. All we have to do is say like, hey, you're using a variable. Be careful. It's not the compiler's job to fix bad code that accesses out of bounds. It's the compiler's job to ensure that the program doesn't crash and the program works. What's more cool than hidden features? Why would it be hidden? I keep saying repeatedly, there's going to be a warning when you use a variable access within an array. So you're going to be warned, hey, this right here has to be correct, otherwise the program sucks. King Bun says, nah, no warning. Let's just make the worst compiler possible. I like it. For now, we're doing the simple case of just allowing straight up integers. Because we're lazy. We're not even going to use continuations. We're just going to literally parse an integer right here. It's horrible, I know. We may have to advance Lexer. State? Do I have to do like that? Where am I? Oh, it's not called token, it's called current, right? Why are you mad? Oh, that's why. Because I'm in here, where the state actually lives. I'd like to parse an integer into a new node, and this is going to be called integer offset. Sure. Arusius says, for something like I equals 0 to n, a at I equals b at I is very common, though. Getting a warning in all these cases seems excessive. Excessive warnings are not an issue. But in that case, I think we're going to have guards. I know you don't know the future of the language, so it's not on you to like know this. That's a very good point, Arusius. Also, Negvorsa says, hi everyone. What's up, Negvorsa? How's it going? But we're planning to implement like guards with our comparisons and stuff. So we're going to have like compile time guarantees that the programmer can make. So effectively, we're going to have like, if you create an integer, you're going to be able to create an integer, but have it like bound to some limit in some way. I don't know what the syntax looks like yet. Maybe it's like limited to, right? Limited to 8. And, or you could say like limited between 0 and 8. I don't know what the syntax is. It might be like int array 0, 8 or something like that. Or integer 0, 8. I don't know what it's going to look like. Arusius says, oh, like 0.8 in Pascal. Exactly. Arusius, you exactly have it, like Pascal. First time chat from a new viewer says exclamation point font. I've never seen that. XX Sally the Goose XX. How's it going? But yeah, we're gonna have some way of guarding where a variable can be like known at compile time. And eventually we're gonna like know variables at compile time because we're also gonna write an interpreter. And then we're gonna be able to interpret a program as we run it. And I know that's gonna be difficult with external calls. That's not possible, but we're gonna be able to do a lot. Sally the Goose says, haha, hi there. I will let you know the font though. I think it's in my Emacs config that we were just in. It's in my init. It's one of these. It's probably Fira code. They're all nerd fonts though. So if you go to nerd fonts or Google nerd fonts, it's either Fira code, JetBrains Mono, Deja Vu Sans Mono. Courier knew it could be. That was an old one. Sally the Goose says, thanks. Yeah. Of course. But yeah, we're going to have some type of guard, so then anytime int array is accessed, we know that this is true. And anytime it's reassigned, we can look at the guard and make sure, oh, this is actually not correct. You can't assign to 9 because it's limited between 0 and 8. And I don't know how that's going to work, but that's our eventual plan. But when you use an unlimited variable in the language, in an array operator, if you didn't have this in there and you tried to do like int array at whatever, some integer, right? I don't know why I call this int array, by the way. But if we try to access int array at integer without this in here, then it would, or this or whatever, then it would just be fine. And it'd give a warning and say, hey, this isn't bound to like, this isn't limited to within the bounds of the array. And I think it may be smart to be able to assign like int array size. We might have a size of that works on the size of the array, right? Or like we could have array size keyword. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm still just thinking about it. But if we had array size, then we could use that as a type or something. And this would basically mean that this is a number that can only ever be within this type, this array's size. Sir Aid says, you can use external calls in an interpreter by using dynamic linker to search libc as well as the symbol table and the libs that the interpreter is linked against. Yeah, it's rough though. On Linux that's done using dlopen dlsym, but I don't know how to do that on Windows. Yeah, you'd have to open a context handle. On Windows there's load library. Exactly. You'd basically have to use their custom API, load their custom structure, and then it's very similar to dlopen dlsym. It's just a little bit different. But I want something like this, where we can have a type of a variable that is bound within the size of an existing array. And something like this would be, I think, very helpful for what you're talking about. An index could be an index into this one array and only this one array. So then if you try and, for example, use index for another array, it would say, hey, I'm an index to this array and I can only be these numbers. Something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of plans for like variable limits and compile time, letting the programmer interact with the compile time, if that makes sense, rather than just the runtime with the code they write. Whew. LenderXT says, everyone loves custom APIs. Arusia says, APIs are great. Everybody should have one. Yeah, everybody make an API. Woo! This is a syntax error. Expected integer following index operator. Look. Good enough for me. If not expected dot found. Oops. Then expected closing index operator following index integer. Sure. And if we get all the way to here, we found this, and we'd want to go else, jump to the end of that, put it in there. So if we find an array, do that, in which case we'll jump to the end of here, we'll jump to the end of here, we'll free var binding, and we'll look for a binary infix operator and such, and handle the stack and do anything like that. I think we've done it. LanderXT says, I have an API that lets you call landerxt.annoy someone, string person to annoy. What if I call landerxt.annoy someone landerxt kappa? Lander says, I will annoy myself, duh. Nice, a very consistent API. Lamau. Okay, so we may, fix me. We may have to advance the lexer. Yeah, I think we do. So we're just gonna do lex advance, state, and state. Error equals, if error.type, return the error. Advance the lexer, parse the integer, get the close bracket. Whoa, what did I just do? Return type of left-hand side expression of binary operator does not match declared left-hand side return type. Yeah, one thing we never did is actually create the proper node and everything. That's probably important. Lamau. So let's copy our var access. Node copy. Working result. Oh man. I'm gonna go look at the example down here. Then we just update working result and add the child. That seems like it makes sense. So our working result goes from being a variable access to being a node type index, which is going to break a bunch of things when I add it, which is why I got rid of it. And then we can say working result value.integer equals whatever that thing is whenever we get it. And we can add a child to this working result of the var access. Okay. Doing a little switcheroonies here, but it'll work. We should probably set like working result to nothing and everything, but it'll be fine. Okay, so working result value integer equals integer offset value integer. And then we can node free integer offset. Okay. Assertion failed, node compare. I think that's up here. So it equals 14 because when we compare two indexes, it's basically just going to be comparing an integer. Print node. And print node asserts somewhere. I guess node text. And it's basically just going to have to say index. We're just going to add it to the bottom because, well, why not? Index, node text, buffer size. Yeah, that's fine. It's like, wait, no, don't need to change that. So here now we have a developer warning. That's pretty good. Unhandled expression type in type check expression. Index, variable access int array. Type compare symbol called on non-symbol nodes. Oh no. Okay, so unhandled expression in type check expression. So we're moving on to the type checker now. And in type checking an expression, we'd basically like to say, I don't know, we'll put it here. If it's an index, ensure child is a variable access of an array type. That's step 1. Ensure integer value is less than array size. And then this will be fix me expand support for variable access array size. We'll put it to do. That's not really a fix me. Everything works as it should. So, okay, first of all, we're gonna have to do some things, and we're gonna say if environment get, can we do parse get variable or something? Parse get variable. So from our current context, I'd like to get the variable of our child. So first of all, we're just going to say if not expression children, or expression children type does not equal node type var access. I know it's very strict right now. It's very strict. Then we're going to prep an error. It's going to be a type error. We're going to say, hey, index node requires a variable access. May only operate on, I don't know, a valid variable access. That's a terrible error, and it's fine. Because this should never happen unless our parser breaks. So that's still not that. Let's just ensure is a variable access. We still have to ensure variable being accessed is of an array type. So we'd like to get the variable which gets the value in the variable's environment, which gets a variable's type, is what is actually happening here. If error.type, return error. So we need some sort of result to write into. So this is the type. I think we're going to use temp node. It's what we've done before. RuArc says this should never happen. You are correct. Ensure variable being accessed is of an array type. So temp node should now be a thing. So now we're basically just going to say if, I know this is horrible, string compare on temp node value symbol and array equals 0. It does not equal 0, I should say. Then prepare an error and say index array index may only operate on array on variables of array type. Perfect. RuArc says most common error descriptions by programmers, and then it happens and the user is confused. Exactly. That's why I didn't just put this should never happen. I put an actual error that probably makes sense. At least to the developer that's seeing it, because they're breaking things. Expand support for variable access array size. Ensure integer value is less than array size. Okay. We still have to return this error. Arusia says, perhaps I'm jumping ahead, but if you're writing a function that takes an array as a parameter, will that function only work on an array of a fixed size? Yes, since the compiler always has to know the size. Yes. RuArc says, and then I write a big comment why it should never happen. Arusia says, ahead. I know that's going to make things like linked lists difficult. We're going to have ways to get around this in the future, but for now we're going with very strict arrays. That way we can just implement them and not have to worry about programs that fail with code 5, right? Okay, so now we should say if expression value integer is greater than or equal to temp node children value integer. And then we're going to say out of bounds. They only operate within bounds of given array. I know that's terrible, but it doesn't matter. Integer is less than 0 or greater than or equal to the value integer. That's a big problem. But yeah, Arusius, the compiler will definitely have to know the size of an array. But here's the thing, once we get typecasting, we're also going to be able to just, the array will return its variable, right? So if we take a look at arrays, this is a pointer. So you would be able to pass an integer pointer to any function and pass the array to it. It's just then that you would lose the array ability in this sense. So by passing an integer of 2, you would be able to access 2, but is that making sense? So you could pass just the pointer, because this is just going to return a pointer. Arusia says, yeah, that's fine. Old Pascal also used to work like that. Cool. I didn't know that, but that's very sweet. So let's see what we get. Type compare symbol called on non-symbol nodes. So I think the issue now is we're not setting our return type or a result type. So you see in every one of the other ones, like address of, we set the result type. So we do have to set the result type, and result type is going to be what? So it's basically going to be temp node, that's our array type. But it's going to be a pointer. But so is the array type. So our variable access so instead of getting the variable type like this, let's actually type check it as an entire expression. Yeah. And then we'll have result type in temp node. So then we shouldn't have to do this. Negvorsa says, in the expression I plus 1, here what is the result type of I plus 1? Is it not a variable access? The result type of I plus 1? Well, that's, what? So I plus 1 would be converted to a binary operator plus, right? And then have 2 children. So the result type would be whatever the result type of this binary operator is, which with plus, it's an integer. This would return an integer. Is that what you're saying? This would be a variable access. This would be an expression. That's not currently allowed. We're not there yet. We're allowing integer literals only in the variable, and no variable in the array access. Just like this. This is what we're allowing. Nothing more complicated. Eventually we will expand, but for now we're doing simple. Ensure integer value is less than array size. Yes. Result type is going to be whatever the array type is, but it's going to be a pointer to something, right? So this would be a pointer. So the idea is result type is going to be, see, here's the thing, it's going to match, that's why I'm doing this. So temp node contains our array type, and if we look at we think about our array type has the symbol array, and then it has the size as its child, and then it has the actual base type as the next child. So we copy the base type, and add one level of pointer indirection? Does that make any sense? So index of variable access int array equals 69. Ah, look at me, forgetting how the language works. Symbol colon? So after we parse this, we should still look ahead. So how would that work? Yeah, I think that would work. We should still look ahead. So we're gonna have to go back to parsing and think about array. Wherever it is. Right here. Nope, still the wrong spot. Here we go. So if it's an array or a function call, see if it's a function call, we don't need to do anything. We just need to fall through. So if I put the function call where this is right now, right, so if this if and everything, see it goes to here. Okay, so basically currently we get a variable access, we look ahead for an array. If we don't find an array, we look ahead for a function call. If we don't find a function call, we look ahead for a reassignment. But the weird part is we're allowing a reassignment of the index operator. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Because something like this kind of has to be allowed. Otherwise, it would be very confusing how to use it. And also, I know we're going to have some way to access this value. But that's why if this returns a pointer, you could just get the dereference of it, and that's an actual value, an expression that you can use. Ruark says, will lurk for a while, really got something for my own compiler project. Awesome. LandoXT says, did you know the Australian Football League has its own top-level domain? I did not, Lamau. What is it? Is it .os or something? .asf? Am I missing a joke? AFL? I don't know. .afl. Crazy. .aflac, huh? Aflac. That was such horrible commercials, but they're in everybody's heads now. Alrighty. Our issue is we get an unknown symbol because we don't look ahead for it in the parser. If array, still look ahead. If function, don't still look ahead. Effectively, the function, this function here, looking ahead for a function call, is going to have to move. It's going to have to move like somewhere here. And if we do that, we don't want to do all this other stuff. So we're going to put that in an else. And what else would we like to do? We'd like to look ahead for this bad boy. An array. Look ahead for array index operator. And then we do it. And if we do it, we then still would like to look ahead for a variable reassignment. Hopefully I didn't just break everything. I think there might be one too many. So now, that's perfect. Perfect. Look ahead for a function call. Otherwise, look ahead for an array index operator. And if you find an array index operator, still look ahead for a variable reassignment. We're getting there. Mismatch types. Type of left-hand side does not match type of right-hand side because this is a pointer to an integer and this is not. Hey, look, chat, it's working. Wow. Well, there we go. We made it all the way to code gen. Hey, LenderXT says, I'm calling myself on Discord. Lamau. Speaking of Discord, be sure to check the Discord out. It is a ton of fun. It's in the Twitch About section down below, and we already have a ton of members. We'd love to have you a part of us as well. Yeah, be sure to check it out. You can ask to join the notifs group and get notified every time I go live. You can also just talk. It's fun. I recommend it. And get code review if you really like. Alrighty, with that little plug out of the way, we can think about how to do this. Okay, so looking at our AST, we have a variable declaration of int array. An int array is an array of size 2 with an integer. Yes. So maybe this isn't a pointer to a beginning of array. Maybe a pointer to a beginning of array, or it could be literal array type. Return literal array type, which could like be used for passing fixed size arrays between functions. And then this is how you would get the pointer to the beginning of the array. Then that means that the array this variable access would have to act different if it's under an index or not, which would kind of be annoying, but a variable access under an array index will always be an array based on the type checker, so we don't really have to worry about this ever going wrong. We can just not code gen the variable access, we can just code gen this and have that include. I know I'm kind of talking fast. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, we're working on it. Okie doke. Where are we at? Where are we at? See, there should be an assert here. I don't know if we're making it to the assert. Type is not found in environment array. That's fair. So that's probably coming from parse get type or something. Hey, look, another terrible thing to add to our terrible list. No, array is fine. External function definitely shouldn't be there. There we go. We made it here. So now we need to handle sure. Why not here? Okay. Well, we can already say if codegen verbose, print out a verbose comment in the assembly that says like index. Sure. And we could even print out the number. Whoops. LLD. Expression value integer. And then we basically, why do we say if error type return error right here? Sorry, I just saw this. Why? No, not needed. It's needed here in dereference because we code gen the expression, but it's not needed here. Very interesting. Also, parse get type I probably just ruined because we don't want it to return 0. We want it to do its own thing. I know I just jumped back, but basically, if it's an array, then so parse get type, we're effectively saying This should be really ideally return target, format dependent, address size, whatever. Basically, we need to return an array's size differently. So let's think about it. So then we search the type's environment, and we don't find the type's environment because it's an array, obviously. So we'd like to say it equals node integer, but this is going to be, so we already have the type. So if it's an ID of an array, then that means that ID children value integer is the actual size of the array, and we can multiply that by the size of the base type. So get size of base type. So we're gonna have to do parse get type, I know. Recursion, but the ID is going to be the ID's next child. And we're going to write that into some node that we can use. So maybe this should be what? Base type. Base type. If error.type, return error. Otherwise, effectively return the size of the type as a child. So result children should be the size of the type. So we have the base type now, which should have a child, which should contain the size of the type. Okay, that's confusing, but I think it makes sense. Basically, size of array is equal to size of base type multiplied by amount of, I don't know, amount of places in array. What do I call that? Amount of slots, amount of size of arrays equal to size of base type multiplied by amount by, we'll just say capacity. That's capacity of the array. That's better. Hey. Okay, so now return okay. Exited abnormally with code 5. That's always good. So ID children next child with base type as the result. After we use base type, we should be able to node free base type as well. We're gonna have to break out the debugger, I'm sure, because this seems like a well, now there. We're still just getting exit with code 5, which to me seems like an access denied error. Not it seems like it is an access denied error in Windows, which means we're probably doing a null dereference somewhere. So if the base type was a function, then result children would be set to a new integer. Else, if it's array, use ID children next child, should be fine. Sir Aid says GDB time. Lamau, it's not. I wish. Again, GDB just isn't, it's too difficult to just have a, an exception. You know what I mean? Like in Visual Studio, you don't have to do anything. It just brings you to the point where you get the access denied error. Whereas in GDB, you still have to find it because it doesn't have the, admittedly stupid, built-in debugging of Windows like Visual Studio has. In any case, we can try it. Hey, look, ID children was null pointer. Which is interesting. You wouldn't expect that. So let's think about where we're calling this from then. We're trying to code gen the program and we're getting this type ID, which was just made to copy var it value, but then children and next child were set to null. What? Why would we do this? So let's set a breakpoint here. Adderson says, "Hi Lens, hi chat, how are you doing today?" We're doing good. We chose to implement arrays for some reason. And we're actually doing it. How's it going, Adderson28? Thank you for tuning in. Sir Aid says, "Yeah, I usually use CLion and not GDB directly, unless I'm debugging assembly. Debugging assembly, GDB is where it's at. Or OS dev, absolutely. GDB is amazing." Sir Aid says, "Ah yes, if you set it to null, it's probably going to be null, lol." It's true. Who knew? So what's var it value? It's an array with children. So why do we do this normally? Why would we set it to null? Lamau. Hey, look, it worked. Turns out when you don't set it to null, it doesn't go too bad. Lamau. It didn't fully work because, of course, we just say index of 1, index of 0, but we don't actually generate any code. So that's a problem. So index is supposed to return pointer arithmetic. So we're going to have to do like adds and multiplies. So we're going to need get size of base type of accessed array. Right? We're going to need that. We're going to need the get size, get capacity of array. So the size of base type, we're going to say base type bytes, byte size. What is this going to be? This is basically going to be whatever parseGet type returns on the type ID of the base type, which is going to be, oh boy. Okay, so these are both going to be to do. And then add base type size multiplied by array base type size by array index value to variable access of array. Basically to memory address of child variable. Adderson says, "I'm fine, just studying a lot, lol." Nice, that's good. Studying is, it's boring, but it's probably worth it. See idioms alignment chart. If not defined header, define header, end if, lawful good. Today I learned LensOS is lawful good. Neutral good, type def struct ss. We also do this. Chaotic good, hashtag define macro do while. Oh no, no, no. Lawful neutral, string underscore x, string underscore. Oh no. Oh no. The stringization is real with this one. True neutral, size of array over size of pointer array. Hey. Chaotic neutral says operator while. What is that operator? I don't even know what that is. Is that a real thing? Sir Aid, you have to speak the truth. Lawful evil, assert x in message. Neutral evil, if string compare AB. I don't know why you hate assert so much. It's not too bad. Chaotic evil says int c equals count plus 3 modulo 4. Switch count modulo 4. Oh no. Oh no. That's awesome. Wow. That's beautiful. Sir Aid says x dash dash greater than 0. I see, so it's x minus minus is greater than 0. Lamau. Chaotic evil is called Duff's device. Yeah, that, it looks like, so if you pass in 0, it'll do all of these. If you pass in 3, it'll do it 3 times, and then do it 2 times, and then do it once. Or no, it'll, oh no, because it'll jump back to the top of the do while. But the, oh my. This hurts my head. This hurts my head so much. Lamau. Rurark. Wee! Nice, I was in the stream. Rurark, you're absolutely in the stream. Okay. So, to do get memory address child variable. I guess let's start doing these things. So get the size of the base type of the accessed array. First of all, let's just get the type of the accessed array, right? We're going to need that. So let's get type of accessed array. So we're going to use parse get variable to get the type of the variable. I think this is how it works. In our current context, and the ID we're going to use is our expression children, and we're going to write into result. So now get type of access array into temp node. Yeah, I won't put that in the comment. There's no reason. Rohan says, good evening. What's up, Rohan? How's it going? Good evening to you as well. Thank you for tuning in. Sir Aid says, C allows any statement inside of a switch statement. Fun, isn't it? Sure. Sure. Ooh, they're basically just label go-tos with extra steps. Ooh la la. So now temp node has the size. So capacity is going to be equal to temp node children value integer. Whereas the size of the base type, we're going to have to say once more. So temp node children next child should contain the base type of the array. So then get size of base type of accessed array. So then we're going to get the base type of the array. So we're going to parse get type now. So this is our base type, and we're going to get that into temp node itself. I don't think that'll be great. What else do we have other than temp node? What's it called? I forgot. We just have temp node. That's the only one. So we'd have to create a new node if we want to use that, or copy the one we were using. Excuse me? Just skipped past index for some reason. Crazy. In any case, get size of base type of accessed array. This is the base type. Ideally, we can just get the size of it into some thing. So we're just going to say base types info. More allocations. And then we're just going to free base type info after we don't need it, because all we actually need is base type size, which is going to be base type info children value integer. And then I think we can node free it. We'll just free it just in case. I don't want to free something we need. We're going to code-gen the child expression, which should just, I guess we don't really need to. We just need to get the memory address. So we're going to allocate a result register, I guess would be the thing. Address. and this is going to be a register. So if I remember correctly, the new allocate takes in code and context. And so now we should have a register descriptor. And with this memory address register, we would like to move something into it. We'd like to load the effective address into it. We wouldn't actually like to move into it. So we're going to use register name on here, and then we're going to use what here? What are we allowing? So basically, we load the effective address of our variable. We can do that because we do that during variable declarations. So symbol to address just needs our codegen context, and the actual symbol, which I believe is in our variable access, which is our child. And then given this register pool, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm losing my voice. I'm gonna drink some water. What did I screw up now? There's no new line. What can Duff's device be used for? I'm just curious. Why are you mad? Oh, because we need a, yeah, code. This is fprintf, not just printf. Lol. Okay, so load the effective address into the result register. So this is basically just going to be hours. So maybe we could just say expression result register. Sir Aid says the original use was copying memory into a memory mapped register, apparently. Oh no. The Wikipedia link broke. Thanks, Twitch. So we're gonna have to do like a multiplication and a... Oh, Christ. So we have the address of the array, ideally. Let's see what we get, actually. What do we get? So we load the effective address. Hey, also, our sizing is correct. It's 16, because that's 2 integers. In any case, we have assignment 69 to the dereference of the index 0 of int array. Right? You see how this is working out now? So we load the effective address of the int array into RCX, and then we write 69 into RCX. This is gonna work. But when we have this address, we then need to add to it some amount. Ooh, you know what? We can probably do this multiplication at compile time. Ooh. Hey. I was like, wait, we don't have to generate anything. I'm kind of slow. So we can probably even use the offset feature. So we would like to move... What are we doing? This is an index. So this should return the memory address. So we effectively have to... Oof. You can probably do the multiplication with the size and offset in the Lee instruction too. That's exactly what I was just thinking. I was like, wait, I think that I'm doing this wrong. So we get this symbol to address, but we would like to offset it by some amount. I'm pretty sure this is how this works. And effectively what we'd like to do, here, we'll make these long, just so that we can do this. And effectively, this should just be capacity times base type size. Ooh. So now I may have done something wrong. Let's take a look at this. Alrighty. Oh man. They're different every time, huh? That's not good. How did we break it this bad? Oh god. Okay. Oh yes, offset 4 billion. Yeah, just like yeah, just 4, gigabytes offset from this register is where I'd like to access. God. What went so wrong? Okay, we're gonna obviously have to print cap as something. And base type size. What did I do? Base. Oh, good. I was hoping. Rohan says, well, that escalated quickly. Sir Age says, I'd recommend starting with a smaller array, but that's just me. Lamau. Rohan says, childs are working too hard. That's right, that's right. The children. So this is totally wrong. How much you want to bet we're just ignoring an error? Nope. Okay, not ignoring an error. That's good to know. So please show me base type info. And please show me... What is it? Temp node. Okay. Base type info. No, this is probably temp node here. Base type info is int0 and unknown. Oh no. What is unknown? How does... What does... Why does... Looks like uninitialized memory, but we can't have uninitialized memory. We use node allocate, which sets it to 0. Everywhere. How do we have unknown memory? So somehow parse get type is returning something that doesn't exist or whatever? Is that what's happening? Am I mistaken? So effectively, our base type, parse get variable, works perfectly. Ah yes, array of unknown, that would do it. That would definitely do it. So we get the base type as an integer here. But the base type info is just broken. So if we just blop blop. Huh. Unknown. I don't know if I've ever seen that. How is that happening? Unknown of parse get type. It's not returning an error. We check right away. So we get a problem here. What is our problem in parse get type? So maybe, I mean, it equals node integer. So that's working. But it's almost like this one isn't. Okay, so effectively, we're just gonna say got thing. Got thing. It's not more complicated than this. Got thing int 0 unknown. What? How? Chat. So we're modifying something. We're modifying something that we definitely shouldn't be. Because we're getting the correct thing, chat, the first time. We get int 0, int 8. That's all perfect. But then we get int 0 unknown, and that doesn't really go well. So the idea would be that somehow we're altering in our new code the type after we get it with parse get type. So where else did we use parse get type? Does anyone remember? But even, here's the thing, we don't just return a pointer. Like, we write into result what we get from the environment. But we may just copy it verbatim, like even children pointers. Are you freeing something that shouldn't be freed, maybe? It's likely. Let's see what VS has to say about it. Ooh, also remove my silly breakpoints. Okay. Okay. So Cojan left-hand side of a reassignment, which is a dereference, which is an index. And base type info is an integer. What? No. What? And children is definitely not correct. What have I done, chat? What have I done? Where did I go wrong? I've lost a friend. So effectively, parse get type, man, is broken as all hell. I'm not sure how I broke it, but I did break it very heavily. Define type, node text, parse get type, please. It's got to be somewhere here. There it is. So what could possibly be the issue? Like, let's stop here, because we know after the first time we did it, it was fine. So let's continue, and then figure out where we got here from. Because the next time we called it, it didn't return something correct. And let's check. What is our result set to? See, it's set to an integer 8 with a child of 0. See, that's perfect. That's what we want. So let's continue. Do we get it again? So this looks like an integer type with a very broken child now. So the last one was the one that broke it. So we go continue, and everything's fine. Result has a child that makes sense. And then we continue, and then everything clobbers. So boom, boom, where are we? So we're trying to generate a global variable and type ID. Free type info is fine. Oh boy. So what is type ID here? It's array. Okay. So we're trying to do an array in parse get type. How'd we get here? Shouldn't we have stopped here? What is ID value symbol? I see. So we're getting the base type here. Ah, here it is. I found it, chat. I found it. Where was I? I found it, chat. Here it is, node free base type. We're just supposed to free it. Node free would also get rid of everything it contains, which is the actual type information for this type ID. Hey. Hey. There it is. Where are we printing stuff out now? Probably in CodeGen? Yeah. Okay, well that's better. Get size of base type of accessed array, get capacity, get type. This all makes sense. And now, dare I say it, get memory address, calculate memory address with offset, with index offset, I guess. Hey, okay, code.s, here we go. We got 16 at index 0. Also, I don't think we can do double like this. We're gonna have to move that into its own register. You know what I mean? Because we can't do rip addressing. We'll have to move this into a register and then do something. So we are gonna have to do this. Unless I'm incorrect. Then let me know. I guess we could, yeah, we'll just do another fprintf call just to make it clear that these are separate things. So then I could just say add LLD to what? Also, did I just do capacity times, hold on. There's multiple issues with that last one. And this is going to be /s. So I think one of the main issues was that we were trying to use capacity multiplied by base type size, but we don't want to use the capacity. This doesn't actually matter. We want to use the index value integer, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we don't need the capacity because this isn't a variable declaration. But we do need what? So we need some number, which is expression value integer multiplied by base type size. And then this is the register name of our register, our result register. So wherever this is, we just add into it. Again, we may be able to make this more efficient in the future, but for now. Okay, and then we can say if, so we'll say this. Load memory address of beginning of array. And then we'll do an offset memory address by index. And this will be an offset. We'll just make it a long, just to be consistent. I don't think you can do rip relative addressing plus offset. Yeah, that's sad. We may be able to. Don't worry about it though. It doesn't matter. There is ways to do it. And it's with, I think you can put a comma in the parentheses and do more stuff like that. So we could do like rip addressed, but then offset by int array, and then offset by another this offset. Long offset will equal base type size times expression value integer. Yeah, but not with rip. Suraid, you're probably correct. Vimisa sad? It's quite a corner case to be sad about. Lamau, true. Okay. That's pretty good. So now, if it's 0, we can just access it. And if it's 1, you can see we add 8 to it. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? Does this program actually work? Wait, chat. Okay, I have an idea. Will this work? I'm like, wait. String? My brain is working. Hold on. So if we did like, so we'd have to put the binary into 8-byte integers. So if we did 6, 9, right? So then we'd have to go through ASCII and figure out what each one of these is. Let's just try and write an E. So E is 69 in ASCII. Does anybody know what 69? So 69 is 45 in hex, 105 in octal. What is it in binary? If you can manage to manually encode a string in an int array, then yeah, puts should work. Well, that's what we're doing, baby. No, you want to know a secret? You want to know a secret? I already did this. All right. So all we should have to do, let's do this, is have this here and this here. Rohan says 69 in binary. We'll keep that. E is 69, which is OB 01 00 0101. This is gonna be so good. So we're gonna put, and we're gonna call it with the int array. I mean at 0. So this is the address, remember, if we wanted the actual value, we dereference it. Our language works differently. As you can see, it worked. And if we look at the code, what do we get? We move a giant value into racks. That's beautiful. And move that into our array at index. So we move 0. What is happening? Dereference index 0. Dereference index 0, which is part of a variable reassignment. Oh, and then we move racks into RCX. I missed this bit. I was like, wait, we didn't finish. But then we do another variable reassignment of 0 to the address of 1. And then we call puts with, yeah. Vimy says, it's not giant, it's just happy to see you. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, if this actually works, I'm gonna be impressed. So we're just gonna use GCC so that linking is easier. It succeeded, boys. Boys. Wait. It's backwards. It's backwards. Oh, that was so good. We just encoded a string into an 8-byte integer. Backwards. Someone forgot about Indianness, it seems. Yes, I did. Oof. God, that's amazing. Oops. So I have to flip this number, Lamal. But hey, let's try another one. Hopefully it's not backwards as well. Just re-encode it to fix it. Yeah, just re-encode. Make up this number again. Alright, compile our language. Do a little bit of bip bop and a boop. You know, get Betty involved. What'd we get? We got nothing. Time to implement string literals. Sir 8 is actually correct. Because then we can just have a string literal return an array type of a fixed size, and then we can just type check that the expression is general. But that means we'd have to put it here, which is fine. Oh, it's actually working. I know it's not the correct Indianness, but hey, it's actually working. We're gonna try this one. It's a little bit longer. Vimy says, and make them multi-line? I mean, we are gonna have multi-line string literals. Because why, I don't get why why is a new line not allowed in a string? It's just data in the file. Just go till the next quote, look backwards. If there's a backslash, go to the next quote. It's not difficult. It's like people make it so complicated. Vimy says Craigasm, so good. It's true. It's like Lisp. Like, Lisp is beautiful for multi-line strings. Python gasming right now. Sir Aid says, because C was traditionally meant to be parsed line by line. Lamau. Was that ever actually implemented like that? Did somebody do that? Hey! 420. We're nearly there. So am I missing one? Yeah, I just didn't... I'm dumb. I just didn't do these. Oh no, these are 8 bytes. This is 11. So it should be all encoded. It's just in the wrong endianness, which is pretty funny. Lamau. Sir Aid says in the 70s probably, but I don't know. Lamau, you right. Look at us. And yeah, that actually works. So I'm wondering if we should have string literals be a part of... I mean, I guess they're going to have to be a part of the final program. In the data, probably in the row data. Right? So in the row data, we're going to have like string 1, right? String 0, dot string blah blah blah. String 1, dot string blah blah blah. And we're going to have to make all the strings like this. There is the .ASCII-Z directive, which even supports escape characters. Does it really? I don't really care which directive we use. I'm cool with all of them. So we could use ASCII's, which is ASCII 0 terminated. We want to allow for more than just ASCII, though, which is why I'm worried about ASCII's. Vimy says, it works! It's alive! Lamau. It's true. We actually have a working compiler with arrays. Isn't that cool? You can now have arrays. How cool is that? Very cool. I like this. Array 0. Dereference index operator or whatever to get L value. Rohan says code 5 is dead, Sag. Lamau. Lamau. Is this good? Did we do things? Uh-huh. I think we did things. Just preference, there should be a line there. I'm guessing ASCII-Z is probably UTF-8, but I'm not sure, Saraid says. Vimy says just use UTF-8. I mean, that's the idea, but we're just gonna not have any encoding that the compiler handles. On the one hand, pretty much everyone except Windows uses UTF-8 these days. On the other hand, it's an assembler. Yeah, we're not gonna do encoding. We're just gonna copy bytes literally from between the stuff into the place. I just want to make sure it's handled properly by the assembler. Because if someone wants to put like a left arrow or whatever, you know what I mean? Something. Also, what did I just do? But if someone wants to put in some like crazy thing, I don't even know. What do we got? Like, let's put in an arc. I like that. Someone wants to put an arc in a string, I want them to be able to have this string. You know what I mean? I want this to work. Vimy says goose assembler. Lamau. Okay. So, where are we at? Where are we at? So in the parser, first of all, there's a new index node type, which should be handled here, which is just compare the integer, as well as all the children. Sir Aid says, also, did you / are you going to merge the assert PR? I definitely will. I want to test it myself this time. But yeah, I'm definitely going to merge that. It just may not be on stream since we already went through all the semantics of it. But that's something that's definitely going to happen. Because there's no reason not to. Sir Aid says, all right. Unless you feel like there's new content there. If there's something that people will learn. Like, Vimi says, how about ARM? M1 and M2 seems good when SI releases. I would love to support ARM and make ARM assembly. That's totally something I'm down for. I just need to, if you can point me to actual good learning resources on how to write assembler and how it actually works and how to like make external calls, and if you can point me to an actual ARM assembler that I can use and like make a program out of, you know what I mean? I don't have an ARM computer and I don't really know how it works. Like, can I use QEMU? Do I need an OS to run in QEMU so that I can run the program I write? I'm just a little confused on that part, if that makes sense. The actual build environment is what's stopping me. I don't know how to deal with that. So if status got thing, return okay. I'm not gonna. Free. This one. Nope, this one. Unstage. That can just stay as a return okay. We don't need the commented out debug info for no reason. Sir Aid says, just write an ARM emulator. Can't be that hard, right, Lamau? Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to make external calls to C library. Like, are there ARM C library? I just don't know. There has to be ARM C libraries. I just don't know how external calls work. I don't know how anything works in ARM. So I just need like a learning resource. Something that gets me through the basics. Vimi says, yes, there are. Nice. So basically I just have to figure out... I don't know. Sir Aid says, yeah, I've never used ARM either, lol. It'd be cool to learn though. It'd be really cool. Okay, so we type check the type checker. We code gen the code genner. So why is this? Oh, I was like, why did we add a break to the one above? But it actually just added it differently than I thought it would. Vimi said, as said, ASI is in testing right now and it basically uses Linux standard for ARM. ASHAI. Is that something I can go look at? What is SI? I googled it and Game of Thrones and Zelda came up. ARM. A lot of firmware and modules are work in progress or on hold, but you know. Are you saying Asahi or Adhai? Ashai? You're saying Asahi, aren't you? I've heard of Asahi Linux. You typed Ashai like a lot, and I was like, it's gotta be correct. You're talking about Asahi? This thing? So I'd have to run Asahi Linux. Vimi says, fuck. It's true. Is this a Linux distro? Basically, Arch Linux ARM. Oh, there's Arch Linux ARM? Okay, I'm interested in that. I like Arch Linux. Okay. There is Arch Linux ARM for ARM v7 and v8. Ooh, boy. So I think the A72, I'm able to... QEMU has a thing for this. So could I like run Arch Linux ARM? Okay. This is something to look into. If I can run like an OS that runs on ARM in QEMU, then I could actually like have the assembly that gets generated by the compiler used within this virtual machine to try and compile to a program that will run on the virtual machine. Okay. Raspberry Pi is basically ARM, if I'm not mistaken. You're correct. I just don't, I'm poor. Raspberry Pis are like $80, but that's a lot of loaves of bread. It's a lot of rice. So basically, do the code gen thing. Also, why did we ever do this? I still don't get it. Okay, Control X, G. Sir Aid says, an LLVM backend would also be interesting for optimizations. Yeah, I'm totally cool with that if someone wants to write it. I don't like LLVM and I can't ever get it to build on my machine. It's just like broken. So, no LLVM for me. But if it works, I'm down for it if somebody wants to do it. WASM maybe? I've looked a lot into WASM and I would love that. And I think we could totally do it. It just would require us all to learn new things. But that's absolutely something I'd like to do, is compile to WASM. It just means that we have to create like some JavaScript library so that we can have things happen in the same... It's going to be rough. We're basically going to have to write a C library in JavaScript, and it's going to be horrid. Gnarly Quack says, just got in for the tail end of that. I think many Linux distros are compiled for ARM. Debian, for instance, which I used to use before Arch. I think Arch itself is only technically supported on x64 these days. But yeah, I'd love to find an OS that runs on ARM, and that way we could generate ARM assembly, but then it's just going to be like figuring out how ARM works, because I'm pretty sure branching in ARM is much different due to RISC-V. And also comparisons, but... Well, this seems like everything we need. Sure, we'll add that. Why not? And we'll add the array example. What's in that? What's in the array example? Int array, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's a great example. I'm not going to commit it. I think we could have a better array example. Okay, we're going to say, hooray, array, or we have arrays. For now we have arrays. It took so much work, I deserve a raise. Look at that. Gnarly Quack, or Vimy says, at Gnarly Quack, there is dedicated Arch ARM. Nice. Sir Aid says, yeah, using the LLVM library is painful. They use assert a lot, so often it just seg faults and you don't know why. RIP. Gnarly Quack says, I thought one of the nice things about ARM is that it's significantly simpler than whatever the Intel instruction set is, but I don't actually know. So a rock is simpler than a hammer. Does it make it better at hammering? You know what I mean? Not necessarily. Sir Aid says, and building LLVM in debug mode is an option, but it's equally as painful. If you're not careful to limit the number of parallel link jobs, you'll run out of memory. I have 64 gigs of RAM and 96 gigs of swap space, and I ran out of both. Jesus! That's definitely my issue then. Sir Aid says, and when it finally built, the result was a 2 gig shared library. Ew. Starting the debugger would take like 30 seconds. Yeah, that's why I don't use LLVM. Okay, we push it. We may want to write a better array example. So we're just going to rename this arrays file to like my arrays. And this arrays is going to change to like 4. And this is going to be 69, 420. It has a base type of integer, the capacity of 4. Gnarly Quack says, so did arrays get done while I was away? Definitely, arrays are done. They worked. We even printed out some backwards things like 4-twe and 9-6 somewhere here. See, we printed out 6-9 backwards because we forgot about bit endianness. But hey, it works. Gnarly Quack says, easy. Can it do 2D arrays yet? Yeah, we're not, Sir Aid, shush. We're not worrying about dimensions of arrays. But it wouldn't be that hard. We'd basically just use the pointer and direction counter as a dimension counter for the type. So then you just say, oh, this is an array of an array. And then basically our base type would just have to be... So eventually we have this idea of a base type and a regular type. So a type can be a function, an array, or any of the built-in types like integer or whatever. Or a pointer or stuff like that. But an actual base type is only one of these little things. So currently an array has to have a base type followed by an array. But we will eventually have it where we can have an array after a regular type, which means that we basically parse this base type, and then we look for this, and we say, okay, there's something here that's an array type. Now look ahead still, because if there's more things. And eventually we're going to have arrays that are able to be returned from functions, which is going to look really weird. It's going to have a function thing here, and then parameters here. So yeah, we're working on it. Currently, this is very... Sir Aid says, my compiler also calls that a base type. It's a good name. Gnarly Quack says, yes, make sure this language gets multi-dimensional arrays correct. Learn from C's mistake. I mean, C has multi-dimensional arrays just fine. Is there something... What's wrong with C's multi-dimensional arrays? Now I'm curious. Now I'm curious. Memory is allocated in the executable for the entire array. Either in stack space or in the .data section. To access, to assign a value into one of the slots of the array. Does that make any sense? I think we're jumping ahead. So we're basically going to say to get the memory address of any specific item in the array. We're just calling it an item. Use the array operator, the square bracket array index operator. And then, so we'll say int array, we'll do like first integer, the first int is an integer, which equals at int array 0, but that's pointer to an integer. To access the value of an item in the array, and not the address, dereference the address, returned by array index operator. So we can say first int pointer. First int is an integer equal to at int array at 0. Gnarly Quack says, I guess I'm thinking specifically that int foo34 and int pointer bar equals malloc size of int times 3 times 4 are not the same. Or more specifically, you cannot then index into bar the same as you can with foo. I think we'll have some reinterpret casts that do what you're talking about. They're not going to be safe, and they're going to generate warnings, but we'll definitely have some typecasting, things like that. Eternal Wild Fox says, good evening. How's it going, Eternal Wild Fox? So good to see you. We implemented arrays. How are you doing? Sir Aid says, yeah, that's the first case I mentioned. Ooh, Sir Aid. Oh, Sir Aid says, I suppose C arrays are generally confusing if you're not used to them because they decay to pointers, which ours does as well. Which in my experience can be really annoying in two specific use cases. One that you'll encounter fairly early on is when you're passing a multi-dimensional array to a function, and the other is when you're trying to do linker shenanigans. Gnarly Quack says, I see that now. I was more busy typing than reading. Hee. Eternal Wild Fox says, I slept lol. Doing good. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing great. We've been having a great time today. We succeeded in what we attempted to start out at. We have arrays. So we can have an int array. We can get the memory address within the array. We can get the values within the array. To reassign, use the dereference operator on the left-hand side of a basically use the dereference operator on the memory address you'd like to write to. Sure. Ooh, that didn't break right. So I went to 71. It wasn't the thing, so I went back a word. See, I should have done that. But it goes up to the quote. Gross. See, my my automatic comment broke. Should have done that. I think this is fairly clear what everything does. So currently it is uninitialized memory, which we don't exactly like, but it's fine. But yeah, Eternal Wild Fox, thank you for asking. I really appreciate you care how I'm doing. I am doing well. This looks like a good array example. It seems like fairly clear what everything does, what the syntax is, how it can work. And I think that's a better array example. Add array example. Good enough for me. Add that bad boy. Aight. Well, it's looking like we're at the very end, because I don't think I have enough time to get anything else done, really. Yeah, I don't really have the time right now, which sucks, but it's okay. We did a lot. We now have functions. Not functions. We now have arrays, which actually work. You can say we get a variable declaration of an int array, and it's a type of an array with a size of 4, and the base type is an integer. Woohoo! We get a variable declaration first int pointer, which is reassigned to the index within variable access int array. Also, we don't print index properly. We should print the number, because this is the index that we're accessing. Look at us, that's much better. So we're accessing index 0 of the int array, index 0 of the int array. Here's index 1 of the int array, index 2, index 3. Looking pretty good. And the code it generates, as you can see, failed with code 164. It's just going to be a random one, whatever was in racks. Or it's broken, we'll see. But we'll say, now return whatever's at int array at 0. It didn't work, chat. Something's broken. So we load the effective address of int array rip into racks. We never do the dereference. Right? Shouldn't we dereference? We never do the dereference. Interesting. Why? So CodeGen is still slightly broken. Don't worry about it. But it works. It works. Yeah, effectively, I'm not sure why that doesn't work. Can we return a memory address? Still failed with code 32, whether I do that or not. It's just interesting. So we load the int array address for the index of 0, and then we don't dereference it. Because dereference, as you can see, should do like a move. Which is very interesting that we're not. Gnarly Quack says, I guess the thing with the malloc version is there is no way to specify in bar's declaration that it's an array or what its dimensions are. Yeah, we'll be able to create an array and assign it to an allocated pointer, but I don't know. Maybe not. You'd probably have to do some trickery with that. It's just difficult in the type system to handle that, Gnarly Quack. Unless you can do something like int pointer bar of 3 equals malloc. Never tried it, but doesn't seem like that's something that would work. Well, that would be a pointer to an array. So it could work. It'd just be a little confusing. Well, can we do first int? What happens there? So we should probably... I don't know what first int would be. It'd be uninitialized. So we still fail with code 32 just because we never... See, now we're doing a move of first int into racks. We're doing at int array of 0. Oh boy. You can see that we still get 32. So int array, rip addressed, move that into racks. See, this is a dereference. So let's check out our dereference and see what the hell's going on. Because it's not working at all. We generate the child, and then we just set the result register. Which doesn't make much sense. Let's think about this. So in a variable reassignment, do we handle dereference specifically? Doesn't appear we do. Okay, so this dereference doesn't do anything, which is interesting because it should do something, right? Dereference should take the memory address and move the value of the base type into something. But it currently just generates its child and does nothing. So this is a bit of a confusing dereference. I think this may be broken because we don't often do dereferences to access. We do dereferences to set, which is on the left-hand side of the reassignment, which effectively just means, yeah, that's the address. Okay. In any case, it's working somewhat. It's good enough for me. Gnarly Quack says, right, but if you did something like int pointer bar 3 equals malloc size of int times 3 times 4, wouldn't you end up with a 4x3 multi-dimensional array? Yes. This is where my head starts to hurt, lol. As a type, yeah, you would have a pointer to a list of 3-dimensional arrays, right? But the problem is, I don't think if you did pointer arithmetic, it would work. I think it would just do int pointer arithmetic. So for those of you watching, he's saying something like this to get a multi-dimensional array. But I think the issue is that bar is a pointer to a pointer, right? So now we have a pointer to an int. It's not going to retain this type information. It's going to decay to a pointer. Gnarly Quack says, then could you access bar using multi-dimensional array syntax? Absolutely. Yeah, you could, but it wouldn't use the proper thing, I don't think. Because if you did like int a equals bar at 0, because I think this is just going to decay to a pointer. I think you're just going to end up with int pointer pointer bar. Right? Because you can always use multi-dimensional array syntax in C. It never stops you. You could just say bar 3, 4 after saying int pointer bar equals malloc size of int times 3 times 4. I mean, you'd have to use 2 and 3, obviously, to access the last one, but you get what I'm saying. Effectively, you can just do it. There's nothing that stops you. Gnarly Quack says, oh. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you would just end up with a pointer. But this operator in C actually just does this. It just says, oh, dereference that thing, bar plus 2, bar plus index, right? So if you can imagine, this would expand to pointer bar plus 2. And then that would be, instead of plus 2, it would be, yeah, you get it. I think you'd get a type error, though. I don't know about that. We can test it. I'm honestly curious. That'll be a good way to end the stream. Okay, so we have an int pointer pointer bar, which equals malloc, size of int, times 3 times 4. And we have bar at 2 and bar at 3, which is equal to 24. No errors here, boy. All good. Gnarly Quack says, because bar 2 results in an int, which isn't indexable. No, it doesn't. This is a pointer pointer. Even if you have bar 3, this is still just a pointer pointer. But this syntax probably isn't allowed. Because array initializer must be an initializer list. So it's saying, hey, you can't put an array and a pointer. Know what I'm saying? Your original example was int pointer bar equals malloc. Maybe you just mistyped that, though. Okay, let's try it. It is a type error, because you can't dereference the integer. You're correct. You just have to do, let's see, how would you do it? Because you want to access within, yeah, so you'd basically have to do 2 times 3, which is whatever your array size was, right? You'd have to do 2 times 3 and then plus whatever. Does that make sense? So instead of having bar 2, 3 equals 24, we would have to have this, where the 2 gets multiplied by your actual first dimension, right? So this would be multiplied by your first dimension to your second dimension. I don't know if bar works either, because bar 2 is supposed to return a pointer to an int, which isn't the same size as an int. That shouldn't matter, buddy. Because a pointer pointer, you can just say, oh, this is a pointer to a pointer. So this returns a pointer, which you then dereference and add to. Sir Aid says, yeah, I forgot. Column plus row times stride. Lamau. King Bun says struct pointer notation is equivalent to something like struct pointer val equals pointer struct pointer dot val. Yeah, you're exactly correct. Like if we have a node, then node, I guess if it would have to be a pointer, right? Node type equals node type integer is the same as saying, hey, dereference node for me. Get the type and set it to node type integer. This is the same. Sir Aid says he put the parentheses in it, yeah. Because of precedence, but he's got the idea. King Buns is gotcha. You basically dereference the pointer to get the node, actual node itself. Then you can just use the dot to access it and reassign. King Bun says, appreciate that. Pointer.val would be, yeah. So effectively, if you wrote pointer node.type, or like this, then you can't do this because this is trying to dereference the actual end, the type. So you'd have to say, that's effectively doing that. But you just want to do that part. Like that. How beautiful. Alrighty. Gnarly Quack says, at Sarade, we've gone down the rabbit hole of dynamically allocating multi-dimensional arrays in C. Lamau. King Bun says, appreciate that. Yeah. Awesome, awesome. We did it. But yeah, we now have arrays. They don't quite work right. So we'll add that to our little to-do and we'll say, to-do. Arrays don't quite work right yet, but they are very close. I think the dereference code gen is just horrible and probably the source of all of our strife. We should fix it. Wrap that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that wrapping function that I wrote. It's so nice. I'd never have to like find column 72, figure out, oh, is it after a thing, is it before a thing? Oh, I'll go backward, I'll make a new, it's done. It's amazing. Sir Aid says the todo.org isn't in the repo, is it? It is not, it's just for me. We've got this bad boy, hey, which we've done parts of it. We now have external functions able to be defined. That's pretty dope. This example should work, but it does not. We still have to figure out why. Still CFI directives. We have optimization to do, which is clear. Support quick function declaration syntax. That's right. We want to be able to have a lambda in the place of a type during a variable declaration to allow for a strong function to be created. Separate context from scopes so that we can access parent scope variables within nested scopes, which is kind of important. Gnarly Quack says, what's the .org extension? What's the .org extension? What? Do you really not know? I feel bad for you. Org mode, baby. It's org mode. Look at this. It's org mode. It's basically a literal, it's a markup. It's like Markdown, but it's better for Emacs. King Bun says the .org extension is the greatest file format to bless the earth, Lamau. Sir Aid says, if it were in the repo, we could maybe help with some of the stuff in there, unless you want to do that yourself. I mean, most of this stuff I'd like to do myself. That's why it's here for me. Because most of it's just fun that I'd like to actually do. See, look, you did this part. Wee, done. But we could, if you want. Sir Aid says, all right, fair enough. Gnarly Quack says, so it's an Emacs thing? I mean, no. Look at our GitHub. This is readme.org, and it is turned into HTML automatically by GitHub. It's just a markdown. It's a markup format. You know, like Markdown or HTML? Gnarly Quack says, I mean, no. Well, it's not. You can write it in any editor you want. Sir Aid says, well, yes, but actually, sorta. It's its own thing. It's part of Emacs. It's a major mode for keeping notes and stuff. But that's not the only place you can write it. Like, you can write org mode as a markup language anywhere. Like, you can have metadata at the top. You can have headers. You can have outlines. You can expand and contract, right? You can write source code and then run source code in it. That's probably only doable within Emacs, but You can still include source code that is styled in the proper way with org babel. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I recommend it. A world of org. So there's fact, hacks, tutorials, hooks, commands, options, org in the wild. Look, there's all these org mode for writers, how to take smart notes with org mode, joining the mailing list, Doom, Spacemax, Cymax, blah, blah, blah. Other editors, there's Vim, Atom, and VS Code support for org mode. Out of the box. Gnarly Quack says, what's wrong with pen and paper? Old man rant, lol. I mean, I do use pen and paper. You guys don't see it, but I have an entire page of notes on how arrays work in this language that I've been reading from this whole time. It's not like I just came up with this out of my ass. I've thought hard about how arrays could be implemented in an easy way, and this is what it was. But I've been following those notes. They say like, parse type, if not function, and expect open bracket. Parse int, expect close bracket. Output type is an array with integer x, like the size that we parsed, the integer that we parsed as a child, and then the base type as the child of that. Parse expression, after variable access, expect open bracket. If found, new array index node. This is the new result. We'll have to do working result nonsense, I'm sure. We did. We had to copy and make it a child of itself. King Bun says, I write slow, I type fast, simple as that, and I make a lot of mistakes. Lamau, no, I write everything out, usually. Computer notes are just for, like, reminders. Or for when I'm writing something really long, because cramps in the hand are a real thing, and I hate them. Vimi says, Joplin. Saraid says, by the way, is there a BNF grammar or something like that of the language somewhere? No, and there won't be. I mean, until we get the syntax of the language actually, like, solidified, there won't be one. Because it would just change all the time. It would be incorrect. Like, I just added arrays. We'd have to go through and change the grammar just because we added arrays. Which doesn't sound fun. Like, when I'm adding a new feature to the compiler, I don't want to be like, but how can I also rewrite the entire EBNF grammar to support this? It's like, I don't want to deal with that. If you want to deal with that and maintain it, you can do it. But I don't like maintaining the code. You know what I mean? That's also why I'm scared of the assert macro. It's like, I don't know if this is maintainable. Convert expression lists into an expression itself. That's a good thing to do. But yeah, maybe if you see something here you really want to do, let me know. I mean, most of this we're just slowly working towards. But all of this is ideally stuff we could get done on stream, right? That we could all learn together with. Gnarly Quack says, anyway, TLDR, org mode equals yet another thing I don't know and should probably learn. True. Sir Aid says, that's what I usually do. I used to not do that, but I found that it helps me with writing parsers. Well, the parser's already mostly written. King Buns says, it falls into the whole Emacs is a great operating system missing a good text editor, quote. Vimi says, tests! We're gonna write tests in Algol 68, bud. We're getting there. End-to-end tests. We'll get there, okay? I've already written an end-to-end test program in Pascal, so Algol can't be that much more hard, right? King Bun says Simula tests. Craigasm. Lamau. Yeah, we'll use Smalltalk to write our to write our tests. Sweet, it'll be beautiful. But no, maybe we'll work on that soon. We'll work on some tests in Algol. That'd be fun. Either way, I don't know. We'll work on new stuff. I also want to get like the byte type in, and then I also want to work on typecasting to allow for, you know, typecasts, which sounds fun. Sir Aid says, I mean, there is that PR I opened if you need some inspiration. Yeah, I'm not looking for that. I want to learn the language like from scratch on stream. I think that'd be more interesting than just being like, here's a test suite in Algol. You know what I mean? Then people would be able to see like, okay, this is someone that knows nothing about the language and is learning it live while trying to write a program in it. Sir Aid says, IO stuff can usually be a bit annoying, so I've also included a demonstration of that. King Bun says, we get to see the pain. Exactly, you get to hear me scream at my monitor a stream of insults as it doesn't do what I want it to do. And I feel like that may be more useful as content. But it being annoying is kind of the whole point, right? It's an old language, nobody uses it. Let's use it. Saraid says, yeah, it's just if you run into a situation where you're not sure how exactly something works, maybe it'll help. Well, true, but I'm going to be running into a lot of situations like that, and I don't want to just copy your PR. Gnarly Quack says, dude, I just opened a PR that finishes your compiler. Kappa. Rohan says, it will never reach Code 5 content, though. That's right, Code 5 is superior content. So funny. Okay. Yeah. This is going good. And I think it's a good time. We're going to switch into our output mode. We're going to be out of here. Be sure to check out the Discord down below. We have a ton of discourse in the Discord, and we have a ton of fun. I really recommend joining. And we already have a ton of members, and you can be another. Also, there's announcements every single time I go live, so you'll never miss another live stream. How about that? How about that? Vimy says, bye, guys. Bye, Vimy. Thank you so much for tuning in. You were so positive and so much fun to have around. Along with you, Sir Aid, Rohan, Gnarly Quack, King Buns. Who else did we have? We had, let me get no, who we have? Oh, we had Eternal Wild Fox. He popped in real quick earlier. We had, Adderson. Adderson was that other person. His name's Pink. I was like, I remember one more. Gnarly Quack says, have a good one, Lesser. Hey, Sir Aid says, and watching you deal with Algol 68 manual will be fun. Haha, yes it will. First time chat from tomorrow. Adios. Thank you, tomorrow. Adios to you. I'll probably see you tomorrow. But yeah, be sure to join the Discord. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Hi, Tony. Welcome to the Discord. You're in the stream now. But yeah, be sure to join the Discord. There's the YouTube down below if you want to check out any of my previous broadcasts. They are all uploaded there as unedited VODs. And you can also check out Tomorrow says, that's me. Hey, Tomorrow Tony. What's up? It's Tomorrow Tony. Sir Aid says, ta-da. Eternal Wild Fox says, getting a CMake error with glue. Now that is common. Along with the YouTube, along with the Discord, there's also the GitHub and Codeberg, if that is something you're interested in. So you can check out my GitHub, check out the compiler, and see how the development's going. Maybe even build it yourself on your own PC. Right? That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Just don't use CMake. VMe, then use what? CMake's the best cross-platform tool. I wouldn't discourage anyone from using CMake. VMe, if you have an alternative that's also just as cross-platform and has the documentation that CMake does. VMe says make. Make sucks, though. Make, you have to learn an entire new language. CMake is like, okay, you can do function calls, and there's like targets and things. That's it. Gnarly Quack says best does not equal good, unfortunately. Gnarly Quack gets it. Sir Aid says CMake is the best thing we have, and considering its syntax, that's kind of sad, actually. I agree. Make isn't cross-platform as well. It's so difficult. Make is something that is used by CMake. So you can use make and use CMake. They're not mutually exclusive. So I'm confused why you say make is a replacement for CMake. Please, tell me. Anyway, before we get into an argument about build systems at the end, CMake minus make equals C. Easy as that. It's a build tool for your build tool. Exactly, that's why it's perfect. Because you can build any build tool for any system. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching the stream. All I care about is that you are here, you show up, you're positive, you're awesome. Also, Vinny Developer, shouts out for the follow. But all I care about is that you show up, you're positive, you're awesome. Feel free to lurk, feel free to chat, feel free to watch, feel free to listen. I don't care as long as you are here. I love you. Thank you for enjoying the content. And if you're enjoying it especially much, I don't know how to say words, if you're enjoying it a lot, I would really appreciate if you could check out the PayPal donation button down below in the Twitch About section or in the description. And that is where you can donate money directly to me and make it so that I don't have to sit on this block of wood I sit on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm on a chair. But it definitely helps me out a ton and helps me continue doing this stream, have more time to do it, and justify spending more time on it, right? In any case, that is all I have to say. Thank you so much. Gnarly Quack says, if you're enjoying is a goodly amount. Yes, if you're enjoying good amount of streams 2 days, please money me now. Big money right now. Yes, yes, right? Something like that. That's probably a better ad. Lamau. Anyways, adios, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. We got arrays implemented today, and it gets me excited. Chat, I'm excited. And I'm out. I'm peace. I'm gonna see you again sometime soon, though. Maybe tomorrow. Ooh. Bog. Anyways, bye, guys.